Okay, so today's video might be a little different to what I usually post. I'm aware Ashton Talks are not new in the slightest, but recently I've been looking for things to cover, and it seems like not much of importance is going on, so I had to find something else to base tonight's episode off. The topic I'm going to cover today is sort of like one of those life story videos or whatever that those animation channels do. I'm not making this a big thing on this channel, but if you like this video, well, I'll do more, but because it's a new school year, I thought I'd like to dedicate this video to talk about my experiences with school camps and why they were all dreadful, minus probably the last one. So, this started in my first day in year 3, and I don't know about other schools, but once you get to that year, at my school you could do camping trips. And trust me, from that point forward, every single assembly will just be the teachers asking, have you signed up for it yet? May comes around fairly quickly, and I stupidly chose yes. You see, before I go any further, there were differences for each school year. There was a set week for the camps, 3s going Monday to Wednesday, 4s going Wednesday to Friday, 5s stay the whole week, and if I remember correctly, the 6 was a little strange. We had 2 campsites, actual pictures up here. In year 6, I'm pretty sure you could choose to stay either the whole week or just a few days. I chose only 3 days because I'm a chicken who used to get homesick real quickly, and that's about it for the camps. I remember going into the main hall at school where everyone was stuck in a... Wait, this was also a minuscule main hall, like tiny, couldn't even fit a rotifer in it. Everyone was there with their little bags and suitcases or whatever. I had a pretty cool grey bag. It was one of the ones with the wheels and long handle you could carry it along with. I had some clothes, some books, a plate, a fork, a knife and a bowl. For some reason, the school couldn't afford to get us our own, even though they had those money-raising fair things like every other month. Rip-offs, I may add. £2 for a minute on a bouncy castle that can fit the hallway or the rotifer's child. Sickening. Anyway, we got on like 5 buses. Yes, us and the 5s are a huge year group. Anyway, we get on the bus, which I wouldn't even call a bus. It's like one of those dolphin executive ones, but like nowhere near as cool, and all dusty and had green tackies and cheesy Doritos crammed in between the seats. Yep, smelled just like how you imagine. And then began the hour or so drive to the camp, and every single time we drove past something of interest, every kid minus me had to point out and be all like, "Look, it's Jack's grandma's old house. My life goals are finally complete after seeing this. Way." Then we got to the actual camp itself, and oh my Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what a letdown. Okay, so there was like 40 metres total for playing, and this was at like set hours. So you'd only have like 2 hours out there, and I didn't even bring up the dinner plate. What is this dinner plate, you ask? Basically, it was a large circle lined by logs, and its entire purpose was that you couldn't stand on there because you'd make the imaginary food dirty or whatever teacher rubbish they said. I was actually shouted at for standing on a circle that easily ate at least half of that originally playing area. Teachers were an exception to that rule. I guess they were part of this imaginary giant's feast or whatever. Again, the dinner plate was stupid. So stupid, in fact, that some kids snuck away when the teachers weren't looking and tried to mess up the plate by throwing away some of the logs. I forgot your names, but I love you guys. I mean, I guess the plate was a reference to the fact that we sat on those logs for eating our food. But again, what purpose did the plate itself serve? There was like this house up this like hill nearby, and there was a little football area for the kids to play on. I just watched since I like football, but I can't play it like at all. Down this little path leading from our tents, which was right next to the plate, there was a very, very long trail down to the toilets. Not good toilets, mossy, broken see-through plastic ceilings toilets. Wouldn't be surprised if there was something poisonous inside those cobblestone walls. Oh, the toilet system as well was stupid. You had to get 3 of your mates to go with you. Of course, I'm not in there with you. But the point was that if you got locked in, one of them could run to the teacher and let them know, and the other would like comfort you or something. Mate, I'm a big boy. I don't need comforting when I'm trapped in a toilet. Actually, now that I think of it, they were probably onto something. Something was wrong about that place. Ask my little friend Geiger Counter. He'd tell you all you need to know. The year 3 trip was very uneventful. But there were two things of significance. The first was that the year fives did all the cooking and cleaning and stuff. I hope they were paid. No way that was of their own volition. And I was somehow happy about that, looking forward to when Man was going to be a professional Michelin star, world's best dishwasher loader. Perhaps I could graduate right there and then with my doctorate in supplying Rice Krispies to the kitchen. The second eventful moment was this activity. So we picked a leader for our own little team of like 10 people. They get us to collect things around the camp to make like a little tent. Once the hour time limit was up, we had to get inside and the man organising the activity would pour cold water to see if it would work. Everything went all well, but then the actual water time came. The girl we chose to lead our team really didn't like me for some odd reason, but she wasn't doing anything too bad, so I didn't suspect anything. When we all tried to get into our tent, it was a real squash and a squeeze, but still I thought it was going to be alright. But then that same girl started to move inside the tent more and more and push me out. Before I could say anything, I was drenched in icy cold water. It's not anything life-threatening, but still hurt quite a bit. I remember shouting at her over what happened, to which she replied, "Oh well, that's not good, is it?" Looking back now, she knew what she was doing. Then I asked the guy organising what was up with that, and he replied, and I quote, "We'll support the little friend thing out later." Seriously, little friend thing. Did you switch your eyes off while all that was happening or something? Oh no, there was another thing that happened. Me and some other guy went to climb some trees by the woods, and we ended up getting lost somewhere. I remember asking him to remember the way we went by taking mental images of the path along the way, like some Hansel and Gretel type thing. Turns out, he didn't do any of that at all. I got turned around in the woods and we ended up near like this barbed wire fence. There was like this small glade and there were these massive hawk-like birds flying around the trees. I asked him, I said, "Do you remember which way we went?" I must say, credit where it's due, he was honest about doing nothing. About an hour later, we finally got back. Anyway, that was year 3. Now, the first trip wasn't much to talk about. But what was interesting was that this wasn't anything too educational, which was a massive shock considering what kind of school this was. I mean, high school is far better, like a million times better. Check out this IT support poster I made period 2 today. Anyways, year 4 was kind of the same rubbish, aside from me winning the wooden boat race and nettle stings, getting lost again in hide and seek and still being found first, and getting chased by sheep. I chose not to do a repeat of that for a whole week the year after, and by that I mean it was cancelled. But here's where it gets good. Year 6. Eaton Vale. Anyone who claims they haven't heard of how legendary this place is lying to you. Not only did I get a tent with actual cool people, but you got to do things like cave climbing, sort of. It was all made inside of a bus. Conversations with people on top of trees, actual seating areas, no work with the cooking done ourselves, no dinner plate, and a hell of a lot of room to play. One of the activities was, no joke, using a gun to shoot targets. Tell me that isn't dream camping without laughing. One of the best parts was when me and 2 others made an entire raft out of plastic barrels tied to some poles. The thing is, this activity we had to try and stay afloat longest without a single person falling in. Our team didn't last long because, no joke, the guy directing it told me to stand up, and so I did. Turns out, I forgot that I was dipping my feet in the water, so I went sploosh into the water and almost tipped the raft over doing so. Next up was using a canoe or a kayak, I can't tell which is which. We had to go past this real small part of the river without getting stuck. We were doing well until we floated into some nettles. Better yet, a family of these giant swans, like real big, came floating by. No baby swans were harmed in the making of this video. After that, I was in the mood to give my friends a little spook, a little boo, because it was time to go to sleep. We couldn't sleep the whole night, however, because the girls next to us were shouting and talking about stuff. Sometimes they even sneak into the tent, we'd have to push them out. We woke up the final morning and we were greeted with a lump of rotting fruit right on top of my sleeping bag. It was horrid, I tell you. Turns out, everyone had got hit with rotten fruit. We never found out who did it, but I bet £100 there was them. Anyway, I went to get breakfast while everyone in my tent was still asleep, or so I thought, because when I went in, I finally used my spook energy to throw myself into the tent screaming to wake them up. Turns out, not only were they fully awake, but I had flew head first into a wooden pole holding it up. The only activity for that day that I remember was one called Egbert's Escape or something, and the whole thing was just that thing, you know, where you wrap an egg up and drop it to see if it broke. I still remember not knowing what it was about, asking our teacher what it was, and what he said. I imagine we have to escape a giant killer egg holding a chainsaw. After that sadly did not happen, it was time to go home. And that is my experience with school camps. Goodbye, the end. Yo, I'm pretty sure people don't actually watch these outros, but in case you didn't know, I'm doing another video tomorrow on the Planet Zoo DLC pack for Oceania. I don't know how to pronounce it. I can't say Australia pack, I'll just say Australasia pack, because